Welcome everyone. For today's practice, you shouldn't need any props. And we'll get started off in a seated cross-legged position. So place your palms to the top of your knees, close your eyes. And if you feel like you're struggling to sit nice and tall in this first posture, you can slip a block beneath the hips. As you close your eyes, guide your weight forward into your sitting bones. Lift your heart, allow your shoulders to relax. And now begin by drawing your thumbs together, your index fingers together, to make a triangle in between your thumbs and your index fingers. And now place that triangle over your navel and close your eyes. So this area that surrounds the navel and the soft belly is known as the Hara. It's considered to be the seat of our life force, the house of our chi, our prana. So keeping your eyes closed, begin to draw the air a little more deeply into the lungs with each inhalation. And with each big breath in, just imagine that you're feeding that life force in the belly. So if you were to see a Chinese or a Japanese doctor, they would be able to assess the state of your internal organs by palpating around the Hara, by palpating around the navel. Now, keeping your eyes closed, begin to deepen your breath. And now to initiate your Ujjayi breath, create a slight restriction in the back of the throat, allowing your breath to become audible both on the inhalation and the exhalation. And breathe so deeply into the lungs that you feel your palms just rising and falling with your breath. Now staying entirely focused on your breath, open your eyes. Remove your palms from your belly. And now moving into a belly down butterfly from here, plant your palms to the floor in front of your ankles. Gently roll forward onto all fours, keeping the knees spread far apart, and then lower your belly to the ground. Draw the soles of the feet together behind your hips, lining up your heels, the balls of the feet, the tips of the toes. Stack your hands and just rest a cheek to the top of your hands. Now to deepen the rotation through the hips, begin to drop your toes toward the back edge of your mat. If you feel like your belly, your pelvis is lifting here and there's discomfort through the lower back, I suggest you keep the heels in a little closer toward the hips. And close your eyes, take a few more big breaths. And now begin to draw the heels back in toward the hips. Draw your head to center, reposition your hands beneath the shoulders, and now rise onto all fours and sit back into a wide-kneed child's pose. Hips toward the heels, knees spread far apart, the arms extend forward, forehead to the ground. So lots of space here in between the inner thighs for your chest and your belly to expand with your breath. From here, rising onto all fours, draw the knees to a hip width distance apart. And now tuck your toes under and float your hips into your first downward facing dog, bending one knee into the next, pedaling the heels up and down. Now gradually begin to straighten the legs, shifting your weight to your left foot. Lift the right leg high behind you. Bend your knee, allow your heel to roll over your left hip. And now imagine drawing a huge circle in the air with that right knee, as big a circle as you can possibly draw. Reverse the direction of that circle. Noticing if the hip is gliding smoothly in its socket, or there are lots of kinks and pops along the way. Extend the right leg back out behind you, lower your foot to the floor, and now switch sides. Lift the left leg high behind you, bend your knee, let your heel roll over the right hip, and again draw a huge circle in the air with that left knee. Reverse the direction. Extend the left leg back out behind you, and now gazing forward, step the left foot forward to between your hands. Right foot steps forward to join the left. As you inhale, lift your heart. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale to rise all the way up. Sweep your arms overhead. As you exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Once again, make that triangle between the thumbs and the index fingers, and place that triangle over the Hara. So we're going to begin our next 2 rounds with a sequence called Hara monkeys, borrowed from the Kripalu yoga tradition. So as you initiate your next inhalation, step to the right into goddess pose. So moving a little slower through this first one, knees press outward, tailbone scoops under, fingers spread nice and wide. Take one more big breath in, and now step the feet back together again and place your palms back over your Hara. Inhale, step to the left, back into goddess. One more big breath in, step the feet back together. Shifting your weight to your right foot, step the left foot back into crescent lunge, sweep the arms overhead. Step the left foot forward, palms back over the Hara. And now inhale, step the right foot back, arms up. And exhale, back to center. Twice more, and then we'll flow right into Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, goddess to the right. Exhale to center. Inhale to the left. Exhale to center. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, right foot back. Exhale, forward. Again, inhale, goddess to the right. Exhale to center. Inhale to the left. Exhale to center. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale to center. Inhale, right leg back. Back to center. Inhale, extend your arms. As you exhale, fold forward. Hands down, heart lifts. Palms to the floor. Step back into upper plank and take a few big breaths here. Press back into your heels. Reach forward through your collarbones. Drop the knees if this is too much of a challenge. Take one more big breath in. As you exhale, lower to hover if you can. Point the toes, inhale, little cobra or upward dog. Exhale, lift the hips, roll over the toes, and take 5 lengthy breaths in downward dog. Drinking the air into the very depths of your lungs with each inhalation. Perhaps keeping a soft bend in the knees if you're feeling particularly tense through the hamstrings or the lower back. Take one more full breath in, and at the bottom of your next breath, gaze forward to step, walk, or hop your feet between your hands. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, fold. Inhale to rise, arms overhead. As you exhale, hands to heart, palms back over the Hara again. Back into our Hara monkeys. Inhale, goddess to the right. Exhale to center. Inhale to the left. Exhale to center. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, right foot back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, goddess to the right. Back to center. Goddess to the left. Back to center. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, right foot back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, goddess to the right. Inhale to the left. Inhale, left foot back. Let's hold it here this time. Keep your head level. Take a moment, find your balance. Add a little bit more depth to your lunge, a little bit more length through that back leg. And now drawing your hands to your heart, float forward into warrior three. Sending that left leg out behind you to hip level. Dropping the front of the left hip slightly to square your hips to the floor beneath. And now softening into your right knee, with control stepping back into crescent lunge, arms back overhead. Step the left foot forward to join the right, palms back over the Hara. Switching sides, shifting your weight to your left foot, step the right foot back, arms overhead. You can take a moment here, find your balance. Draw your hands to your heart, and now float back into warrior three. Shifting your weight to your left foot this time, sending the right leg out behind you to hip level. From the side, your body appears in a perfect T position. Softening into the left knee, step the right foot back, sweep the arms back overhead. Step the right foot forward, hands back over the Hara. Inhale, extend your arms. As you exhale, fold forward. Hands down, heart lifts. Exhale, palms to the floor. Step back into upper plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now at the bottom of your next breath, step your right foot forward. Drop the left heel and sweep the arms into warrior one. Sinking deeply into that right hip and knee, lengthening fully through the back leg. Lifting your gaze here just enough to catch sight of your thumbs. Take one more full breath in. Draw your head to center. Open the arms wide. Warrior two. Sinking deeply into that right hip and knee. Gazing steadily over the middle finger on your right hand. Now gradually straighten your right leg. Take a big reach forward, tipping into a lengthy triangle. Gazing toward your higher hand. Not only long through the legs, but long through both sides of the upper body. As you initiate your next inhalation, slowly rise. And now turn to your left into goddess pose, turning the toes outward, deep bend through the knees. So lots of hip and inner thigh opening poses in this practice. Humble horse, interlace your fingers to your lower back, reach into the arms, roll the shoulders back, and now fold forward, lifting your arms up and away from the spine as you fold. Imagine sitting down into a really low imaginary chair. Keep pressing the knees out towards your little toes. Let your head hang heavily between the shoulders. Now take one more big breath in, lift the arms a little bit higher. Lower your hands to your lower back, and now unclasp your hands to plant your palms to the floor beneath the shoulders. Easing your way into frog pose from here, gently lower your knees to the floor. Keep your knees spread as far apart as you comfortably can. Now the shins stay parallel with the short edge of your mat. Your feet are parallel with the long edge of your mat. Hips in line with the knees. Now either hold it here on straight arms. You might drop down onto your forearms. You might even stack your hands here to rest a cheek to the top of your hands as you drop your chest to the ground. So feel free to close your eyes. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable, directing your breath into the sensations of the stretch. And this is almost like a belly down goddess pose when you think about it. Take a few more deep belly breaths. And if you're all the way down onto your chest here, rise back up onto the forearms, back up onto the palms. And now walk your knees a little closer together. Cross your ankles behind you and now sit back, roll over the ankles into a seated cross-legged position to face the long edge of your mat. Uncross your legs, extend your legs wide to the sides, flexing the feet in toward the knees, ankles strong. Place your left forearm to the inside of your left shin and now extend your right arm to the ceiling. Roll that right shoulder back. And now imagine reaching for the big toe on your left foot with your right hand. Let the left shoulder melt towards your left knee. Press into both heels, flexing the feet in toward the knees, so all 10 toes point up toward the ceiling. As you initiate your next inhalation, slowly rise. Plant your palms to the floor in front of you now. And depending on the length of your hamstrings and your inner thigh muscles, your practice in this posture might just be sitting fully upright. Otherwise, walk your hands forward, hinge forward from the hips, perhaps to lower down onto the forearms, maybe even laying your belly and your chest and your forehead to the floor. Now, rather than collapsing through the spine to fold further forward, keep the spine nice and long and allow the fold to happen from the creases in the front of the hips. Now lift your heart, roll the shoulders back toward the hips. Keep your gaze slightly forward, neck in line with the rest of your spine. Now slowly walk your hands back and toward your hips. Slide the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. Half butterfly, palms to the floor in front of your right ankle, hinging forward from the hips once again, just as far as that right hip will allow. Keeping the left leg straight and strong, foot flexed. Keeping your gaze forward towards your fingertips, shoulders nice and relaxed. Now slowly walk your hands back and toward your right ankle. Taking a twist to the right, place your right hand behind your right hip, left hand to right knee. Inhale to lengthen through the spine, and on the exhalation, twisting to look over your right shoulder. Allow your weight to collapse fully to your right palm. Reach the left arm to the ceiling, lift your gaze to your fingertips. Either hold it here with your hips to the ground or rise onto your right knee, lengthen through the left leg. Let your head fall back, let that left arm drop back. Strong through your supporting arm. Now from this posture, we're going to transition into pigeon pose, facing the top of your mat. So turning your gaze to the top of your mat, place your left hand to the floor. Reposition the right hand beneath your right shoulder. Now reposition your right knee beside your right thumb, lengthening through the left leg. Feel free to draw your right foot a little further forward if you're looking to deepen the rotation through that right hip. Walk your hands in towards your hips. Get nice and long through the spine. And now slowly ease the upper body forward. Pausing here on the forearms. Perhaps folding all the way forward to rest your forehead to the floor. Now allow the front of your left hip to drop slightly, squaring your hips to the floor beneath. Keeping the toes pointed just for a breath or two, engage the thigh muscles on your left leg to lift that knee from the ground. And now allow that left knee to soften back towards your mat. Imagine breathing softness into the muscles surrounding your right hip. Encourage those muscles to soften, to lengthen with your breath. Take 3 more of your fullest breaths. And now slowly walk your hands back and toward the hips. Curl your toes under on your left foot to lift the knee. And now step the right foot back, high plank to low plank. Inhale to rise upward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few big breaths here to stretch out that right knee in particular. Out the bottom of your next breath, step the left foot forward. Drop the right heel, sweep the arms back into warrior one. Get longer and stronger through that back leg. Take 1 more big breath in, draw your head to center, open the arms wide, warrior two. Tucking the lower belly inward, feeling that slight, subtle activation of the core. And now slowly straighten the left leg, take a big reach forward and tip back into that lengthy triangle. Gazing towards your higher hand, shoulders stacked over your left thigh. As you initiate your next inhalation, rise all the way up, and this time turn to your right, returning to goddess pose. Tipping forward from the hips, catch your ankles with both hands and begin to pry the knees a little further apart with your elbows. Drop the hips once again as if you're sitting down into that really low imaginary chair. Now releasing your ankles, plant your palms to the floor beneath the shoulders, moving into a different variation of frog pose this time. Drop your knees to the ground. Keep the knees spread far apart, but this time draw the big toes together behind your hips. So depending on your hip flexibility, you might hold it here, resting on your palms with the hips lifted. If the hips will allow, you can sit all the way down here onto the floor in between your heels, placing your hands to the top of your thighs to sit nice and tall. Shoulders relaxed. Breath steady. And if you're comfortable sitting here with your hips on the ground between the heels, place your palms to the floor in front of you and then begin to fold forward here from the hips, perhaps dropping down onto the elbows, maybe even the forehead. So the sitting bones reach for the floor as you hinge forward from the hips. Take a few more big breaths. Now if your hips are on the ground and you folded forward, slowly walk your hands back in toward the hips. Placing your palms to the floor in front of you, shift your weight forward into your palms to lift the hips from the ground. Walk the knees in a little closer together, cross the ankles behind you, and once again, sit back, roll over the ankles. Extend your legs wide to the sides, flexing the feet in toward the knees. And this time, place your right forearm to the inside of the right shin. Sweep the left arm to the ceiling. Again, all 10 toes pointing straight up toward the ceiling. And now imagine reaching for the big toe on your right foot with that left hand. And as you reach up and over the left ear, keep rolling that left shoulder back as if you're leaning back into the shoulder blades. As you inhale, draw the upper body back to center. And once again, plant your palms to the floor in front of you. Either hold it here, seated fully upright, or perhaps finding a little bit more depth into your forward fold as we return to this posture for the second time. Being really mindful not to overstretch. And if you've chosen to fold here, slowly walking your hands back and toward the hips, sliding the sole of the left foot to your right inner thigh, palms to the floor in front of your left ankle, to fold back into half butterfly, walking your hands as far forward as that left hip will allow, keeping the right leg nice and strong, keeping the breath steady, the breath audible. And now slowly walk your hands back in toward your left ankle, drawing the upper body back to center. Taking a twist to the left hand behind the left hip, right hand to left knee. Inhale to lengthen, and now exhale to gaze over your left shoulder. Let your weight collapse fully to your left palm. Sweep the right arm to the ceiling. Lift your gaze to your fingertips, and either hold it here with your hips to the ground, or rise onto the left knee, lengthen through that right leg. Let the right arm drop back, let your head fall back. Lift the hips a little bit higher. And now making that slow, steady transition back into pigeon pose, turn your gaze to the top edge of your mat. Plant your right hand to the floor at the top of your mat. Reposition the left hand beneath the shoulder. Now reposition the left knee beside your left thumb. Lengthen through the right leg. And once again, feel free to draw that left foot a little further forward if you're looking to deepen the stretch through that left hip. Hands in toward the hips, nice and long through the spine. Now gently wave the upper body forward. Again, pausing here on the forearms, just to make sure that left knee is feeling safe. And then perhaps folding further forward to rest your forehead to the ground, perhaps to extend the arms fully forward. Now this time the front of the right hip drops slightly to square your hips to the ground. And just for a few big breaths, press really firmly into the toenails on that right foot to lift the right knee from the ground. So you're really lengthening through that back leg. Now gently release your right knee to the floor. Your breath becomes even more audible as it resonates between your chest and the mat beneath. Take 3 more of your fullest breaths. And now slowly walk your hands back and toward the hips. Curl your toes under on your right foot to lift the knees. Step all the way back into upper plank. And exhale, lower. Inhale to rise upward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few big breaths here to stretch out that left knee. Now as you initiate your next inhalation, shift forward into one last upper plank. And now staying nice and strong through your core, lower all the way down onto your belly. And then gently roll over onto your back. And then once you've rolled over, bend your knees, feet to the floor. Give your knees a nice tight squeeze to your chest. Finishing up with knee down twist, keeping hold of your right knee, straighten your left leg down onto your mat. Reach your right arm to the side, palm down. Turn your gaze to the right and begin to guide that right knee over to the left. Taking deep belly breaths into the twist. Drawing your head back to center, guide the right knee back. Give both knees another squeeze. And now switch sides. Extend the right leg down onto your mat. Reach the left arm to the side, palm down. Turning your gaze to the left, draw the knee to the right. And now drawing the head back to center, guide your left knee back and give both knees one last hug. Now release your shins, lower your feet to the floor, extend your legs fully down onto your mat for our final posture. Arms resting at your sides, palms open to the ceiling. Tuck your tailbone under slightly. Allow the hips, the thighs, the buttocks to relax. And now scoop your shoulder blades under to cradle your heart. Take a deep breath in through the nose and an audible sigh out through the mouth. Once more, a big breath in through the nose, empty through the mouth. And now simply observe your breath as it returns to its natural, relaxed rhythm. Imagine your breath extending beyond the limitations of your lungs, delivering fresh oxygen, nutrients, prana to every single cell in your being. Now continue to bathe your body in your breath, bringing your attention back to the flow of your breath each time you're distracted by a thought. Allow your body and your mind to drift into stillness. Now feel free to linger here in Shavasana a little bit longer. Otherwise, keeping your eyes closed, slowly begin to resurface. Feel the slightest movement arise through your fingers and toes. Extend your arms out overhead for a full body stretch. Reach from end to end. Bend your knees, draw your feet to the floor, and now roll softly to your right side, resting your head to your upper right arm. And now rise from here to a seated cross-legged position. Drawing your palms to your heart, opening our eyes to each other. Namaste. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining. If you're enjoying my classes, please subscribe. And if you'd like to donate, you can click on the little PayPal button on the main page of my YouTube channel, just to the right of Mount Rundle. Thank you for your practice.